In episode number 263, we cover the brand new Kingdom Hearts pop vinyl figures.
We also have the latest Justice League box office projections. Comes out in November, Brokeheads, very, very soon.
And our comic book review is Batman, the Red Death #1.
All of this and so much more on today's show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
For those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome to the show. The way we format is first we're going to start out with some news, covering all those things I just mentioned, and we'll wrap it up with a comic book highlight of the week.
By the time this episode has released, the podcast awards will have come and gone.
Yes.
So as of right now, we don't know if we have won in Games and Hobbies or if we are forever the 2017 Games and Hobbies nominated the Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
Regardless, even if we win, we'll still be nominated.
Not the winners of the 2017?
I mean, we can tack that on there.
Oh no, I'm changing. I saved that font.
The nominated and won.
It's a little weird right now, a little bit of a weird time for new listeners to jump on, if there are some, because you're about to take your break from the podcast.
I am. So this is my second to last show. I had just Leo update, had my doctor's appointment today. And for those of you who are listening last week, I think I mentioned that my blood pressure was really high. And so they were talking about having to induce early because my blood pressure was so high, unless I could get my blood pressure down. So I've been working like this whole week. I've been eating what I should be and taking all these naps and not working. And my blood pressure was beautiful today. It was perfect. It was exactly what it should be. And the doctor looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, but your kid's like 8 pounds, so we got to get him out anyway."
He really wants to induce early.
He does. So my child is somewhere between 8 and 8.5 pounds right now.
That's a big fucking baby.
They gain a pound a week. So by waiting another week, I'm now looking at a possibly 9-pound baby. Not to mention that he has pulled a muscle in my stomach and it hurts so much.
So with that size, it's going to be a C-section, right? It's pretty much...
You don't know. The doctor was saying, like, some women can't push out 6-pound babies. Some women can push out 15-pound babies. Like,
there's 15-pound babies?
Yes. I didn't tell you that story. I was talking to this old lady at work the other day, and we were talking about babies, and she goes, "Yeah, when I gave birth," and granted, she's an old lady. Like, she's in her 70s or 80s. So this was before they did sonograms to determine how big they were. She pushed out a 15-pound baby.
Damn.
This baby was so big that it made the news, like, for the state. She was in the newspaper for every newspaper in the state because her child was so big.
I don't know if that's something would you be proud of that? I mean, it's either you can grow the shit out of a human. Like, that's a good thing. Right. Or your fucking baby is enormous.
Well, that was her second baby, was 15 pounds. The first one was like 12 pounds or something.
That's still huge.
She should have known. She should have known at this point. But now doctors don't really like your babies to get bigger than 9 pounds. Definitely not 10 pounds. They'll still let you try and push it out at 9 pounds. And once it hits 10, they're just like, "No, we're cutting you open. We're not even going through this mess."
So it sounds like next week will be possibly I don't know, maybe he'll come out even earlier, but possibly next week will be your final episode for a little while. Mm-hmm. So we are going to record theoretically the night before you're going to be induced. So I don't know if I'm going to have any time to edit. I guess I'll just edit the night we record it. I'll just have it busted out and finished. That way I don't have to worry about it.
You can do that, or you can take the computer to the hospital, because this is an asshole doctor, right? Are you ready? No, I love my doctor. He's great. But he wants me to go in at 4 p.m. to get induced. So I get to the hospital at 4 p.m. Theoretically, they don't induce me till 7 or 8 o'clock. And that's when the contractions start. And I have contractions all night. I will be awake all night before anything happens and I can pop out this baby. And then, of course, the whole next day is spent with just, like, family and people coming to visit. So I myself am easily looking at 36 hours to 48 of no sleep.
Yeah, well...
You slept through a hurricane, so you'll probably be fine.
Well, I've never had a kid before, so that's why I'm saying I don't know if I'll be able to just sit there and edit while you're having contractions. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. at all. I think I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'll be checking Twitter and all that, like just kind of getting this. But I can't sit there and concentrate on something while you're giving birth. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen. So the night we record, I'm gonna try to bust it out, get it out to our Patreon backers. And especially since I still don't know what's going to happen for the week after that, we're going to be taking care of a baby. I'm going to be taking time off of work, and I'll be at home. So I'll have a lot of time here, but I also most of my time will be with the baby and with you. So I don't know if I'll have time to...
I like how it was the afterthought. And with you, and taking care of you.
I don't know if I'll have time to have a guest on. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. And then on top of that, to edit. I'm not sure, but Brokettes have been awesome in sending in their applications or their suggestions of, hey, I want to be on the podcast. This is what I've done before. Here's my Skype name. Those are my favorites that were like, here's my Skype name. Here's what I've done before. Here's a link. Done. And I'm like, oh, all right. I got that handy. Thank you very much. So there's been a lot of people that have been coming on, and I have a little list that I'm building that I can refer to in case we do need to have a guest on, or in case I can have a guest on, I should say. So we'll see what happens. I'll make an announcement either way on Patreon, on Twitter. Somewhere you will find out what the plan is for the podcast 2 weeks from now.
It'll be an interesting journey. I'm excited and terrified.
I think everyone is, yeah, except for our parents.
Our parents. Oh, yeah, my mom was so excited. She's like, okay, I put it in my calendar right now. I'm taking the day off of work. I'm like, Mom, it's going to be a long time before something happens. Like, just show up after work. And I'm sure I will still be like, no. I took off the whole day.
This is the equivalent of the hurricane.
Yes, this is the hurricane in our life. But something else is happening this week that you may not remember, but I remember because I am your wife and I care about you so dearly. And it's maybe not as important as having a child, but still very important to me. We have known each other for 10 years now.
A whole decade.
Yeah. You've been stuck with me for 10 years.
That's a huge deal too. Mm-hmm. I mean, but we've also been so distracted with Leo, the baby, work. It's been crazy, but 10 years, it feels like it's gone by so incredibly quick.
Because you just love me so much, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Of course.
Sure.
Love you very much. You and Leo, little AC.
Little AC who was making all that noise in the background in case our new listeners are like, what's wrong with their sound? They're like adjusting their car dials.
The little clinging. Yeah, that's Ace's dog tag. Dog tag. And that's why we have her... When I had the artists do that little Patreon artwork with you and me, I'm like, throw Ace in there too, because they hear her almost as often as they hear us. So until she finally settles down and goes to sleep, and she's like, all right, Mom and Dad are just going to talk to each other, I guess, for an hour. I'm going to lay down over here.
Just sitting in the fucking closet talking, just being weirdos. I'm going to go sleep on the laundry instead of this expensive dog bed they bought me. Or climb under the dresser. And
where there's just hardwood floor. Just nothing else.
Make racket. The thing is, she's a little too big to climb under the dresser, too, so I don't even know why she tries.
Before we jump into the news, let's go ahead and cover what we do every single month at the very first episode of the month. This is coming out at the beginning of October. I want to say October 1st. And that is the Netflix highlights. What's new on Netflix for October 2017?
Keep in mind, these are not everything that's going up on Netflix. This is just our highlights, things that are important to us. Things that our listeners like. So first up, we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is from 2005, so that weird-ass Johnny Depp version.
Tim Burton film, another bad movie night. If you haven't gotten enough of Catwoman, yes. Which was also on Netflix. Tried to convince my manager to play that on Netflix, and he would not have it.
No, because it's terrible. I've only seen clips of Catwoman, and I'm ugh.
Let's watch that instead of Wonder Woman. Let's just give it a shot.
Let's not.
For a bad movie. Come on.
No.
Catwoman.
No.
You don't like Catwoman?
I do, but not Halle Berry Catwoman.
You've never seen it,
I've
though.
never seen
You've got it. Every DC fan has to see the bad and the good.
I mean, I got some free time now, so sure. Let's go ahead. We'll watch it.
Also on Netflix coming up is Eyes Wide Shut, which was Stanley Kubrick's final film. Did you ever see that one? A lot of people called it one of his worst movie of all time. Some said it was his best movie of all time, and I fall right in between. I'm like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't his best. It wasn't terrible.
It was his okayest movie of all time.
Tom Cruise is in it.
Oh.
And he doesn't act like Tom Cruise. You know, he acts like himself. He stumbles upon a sex club that is made of the rich and powerful in that city. So it gets really fucked up, and it's not scary. It's not gory or anything like that, but it's a very psychological trip. And it's Stanley Kubrick, so you're going to get a lot of very interesting shots, and I don't even know how many cuts he had to do for this particular movie. Nicole Kidman is in it as well. So it's worth watching for sure. If you like Kubrick, if you watched, The Shining, I know people are on a Stephen King high right now. Definitely check out Eyes Wide Shut.
Next up on the list, we have Donnie Darko. I have only seen this once.
It's one of those that people like to analyze and figure out, like, what was the movie really about? Or it was a time travel movie, but who was the catalyst and who did this and why did he have to die or otherwise the world would end? It's one of those fun movies that as you're growing up, you watch it and it's simple enough to where you're like, oh, I can think about this and I can theorize. It kind of hit me at the right age as I was growing up where it's like, oh, Donnie Darko, and like this is one of those movies that makes you think. And now you have shit like Mother and all these other things, but it's like that perfect when you're growing into watching more, like, I guess, deeper movies. That's like one of the perfect intro movies to that kind of, I guess it hit that perfect era, at least for me. I don't know what it would be for people growing up today, but that's one of the movies that it was, and that was Donnie Darko.
Something I'm super excited about, we have Voltron Legendary Defender Season 4 coming out at the perfect time for me to just be sitting at home with the baby.
So what the hell did they do with Voltron? I'm still confused, because we finished it. Did they cut the season short? Because the episodes were way shorter than the previous seasons.
Yes, they only did like 6 episodes or something, didn't they?
And the previous ones were like 8, 9, 10, something.
I thought they were like 12, 13.
So did they split this season into 2 and call the other one Season 4?
I think so. But whatever, let them do what they want. It's a great show. We love it. We got to find out what's happening with Voltron and Shiro and all that stuff.
Lots of twists with Zarkon now. Way different. I played the classic Voltron, and I just wanted to see the differences. Who played Legolas?
Lauder or whatever his name is.
Which one was Lauder?
It's the main protagonist this time around.
Oh, I don't remember. Like I remember the big guy, like the fat one, and he was there. He has the headband still.
Oh, I'm sorry, not protagonist, antagonist.
Zarkon?
No, Zarkon's son.
I did not get that far into the show. I did not.
Because his name's Loder, which is the abbreviations for Lord of the Rings, and he kind of looks like Legolas, so I just call him Legolas. Come on, get with the times.
I don't know if he was in it.
But the big guy, I forgot the big guy's name, but there's Pidge, and there's Kevin. His name's not Kevin.
The red or the blue one, they kind of look the same, but one of them is definitely in the original show as well. Okay. It looks exactly the same, and I think they have the exact same names, too.
The red and the blue one are in love.
Yeah, and Pidge and the main leader are in love, too.
Shiro, yeah.
Fan fiction, Tumblr, I don't care. I don't see it. I don't care enough about the characters to be like, they should be together.
Aw, come on.
I don't.
None of them? There's none of them.
I don't care enough.
Not even, what's his name, and Alura's dad?
Yes, that is probably, he's the one I care about the most. Nigel Thornberry. He's the best character. I don't know if he's in the other one. And I also liked Zarkon's son, actually, where he's essentially coming to these planets and he's saying, we'll protect you. We're not going to rule you with an iron fist, but we're going to protect you, and you are choosing to join us because fuck Voltron. So it's a way different tactic than what his dad had of like, no, we're going to make you slaves and you're going to work for us. And instead they're saying, no, your planet now is ours, but we're going to let you operate as you did. But you're going to, when we call upon you for war, you're going to assist. Otherwise, we've got our whole fucking army. So that the villains were way more interesting in this previous season. And I hope they do more with that in season 4.
Well, and then what was it? The last episode, the episode before the last, where we find out like Zarkon's whole past and about creepy witch lady. It was so sweet. It was a great love story.
I thought it was kind of shoehorned. I didn't buy it at all as I was watching the seasons. I appreciate that they were trying to make him interesting, but I had already completely forgotten and been like, all right, they're just evil, it's fine. But now that they're like an infected force type of thing, like now there's a chance that he can turn good and she can also turn good. It makes the villains more faceless than even before, because now it's just some interdimensional energy that came out from somewhere and is ruining this particular universe.
You just don't appreciate love stories.
I don't appreciate that love story. Yeah, they didn't do much for me. The Hateful Eight is also coming to Netflix, which I believe was the latest Tarantino film. I could not see it. I completely missed it, but now I'll be able to watch it this month in October.
And finally, we have Stranger Things Season 2.
Watched the whole season 1. It's not for me, but I know a lot of people are really happy and excited for season 2, and the Funko Pops sell all the time. So yes, be excited for Stranger Things season 2. I'm excited for you. do enjoy. But that is just our highlights for Netflix and what's coming out in October. For a full list, go on Google and type in what's new on Netflix October 2017, and you will see a full list and the dates for each of these properties, movies, films, episodes. Hey everyone, Editing Daniel here, and just wanted to let you know that a small portion of the audio where Kelli is introducing the Kingdom of Hearts pops got cut off, unfortunately, and that's just one of the byproducts of GarageBand. As soon as you save, you lose whatever you may have deleted, so that's why it sounds a little bit sudden and cut off. Obviously worthy of a 2017 Podcast Awards podcast, because why wouldn't this happen this week? But just wanted to give you that heads up, and let's head on into the news for this week.
Which include Sora, Kairi, Riku, and a Shadow Heartless.
I saw the earlier one of Sora on Twitter, and I did not see the full line. You then showed me Riku's, and even my coworker asked, are there more? And I'm like, nope, just Sora. Because I figured they released Donald, Goofy, and King Mickey. They had Pete. They had all the Disney ones. Chip and Dale even had a Kingdom of Hearts duo pack.
Why? Okay, whatever.
They have their builder outfits or whatever the hell.
For their gummy ships. I hated those fucking gummy ships.
And when I saw that Sora got added, I thought, okay, so this is just another one-off addition to go with the rest of the characters, because they are not as loose with releasing that property for the Funko Pops. They have to go through Square Enix and not just through Disney, who Disney's like, yeah, make them all. Make all the Pops. It doesn't matter. We'll make our own Pops. So now that we do have Sora, we have Kairi and Riku, who will go well with Sora. People are going to buy all three. They need all three. You can't just have Sora. And then the addition of the Heartless, that's the one I'm tempted by. I don't know. I like the weird design for the Heartless. I think they're really cool. There's an exclusive where his eyes glow. Not going to go for that one. There's a different colored Sora with a different outfit. Same thing, just a regular one. I'm going to ask you, though, because I'm going to pass on those particular three. Do you care about any one of these Funko Pops?
I only care about Funko Pops when they're out of print and you have to go to extra work to find them for me.
So if these were out of print, which one would you want?
Well, Riku, of course.
Riku? Okay.
He was like one of my first big crushes, that Riku. Oof.
Riku or Vegeta? Which one was first?
Vegeta was first.
Really?
I had a crush on Vegeta when I was like 9.
Was this back when he was still like real short and a Frieza member?
No. So I first encountered him during the Trunks saga, when Trunks showed up.
So when he was the biggest asshole.
Yeah, pretty much. When he was a super asshole. Yeah, I don't know. I just, something about Vegeta. And then, this was before, you knew that Trunks was Bulma's son, right? We had all the little figures, and then, you'd play with them. So, what me and my friend would do, we had our Polly Pockets that we would play with, and all her brothers had all the Dragon Ball Z figures, but we wanted to play with them, too, so we'd wait till they were out of the room, and then we'd sneak in there and take their stuff, and they'd get real mad, and they'd be like, Mom, they took our stuff, and then we'd have to give them back. But they were all shirtless, so then we'd put Polly Pocket rubber shirts on them so that they had shirts on. But there was a Bulma toy and there was a Trunks toy, and I used to put them together in love, because Bulma was my favorite and Trunks was my favorite, and then I realized they were mother and son, and I was like, ugh.
What have I done?
Not anymore.
So they had these tight little rubber shirts on them?
Because they were little tank tops, but they were all rubbery. That was the whole... and they weren't Polly Pockets, they were Polly's, but they were the Polly Pocket brand. And yeah, it would just... it pretty much fit like a tube top.
So what would you do with the DBZ? What, did they fight the Pollies, or what the hell?
No, why would girls fight? They were the romantic interests.
So you guys played with them, as in you made stories for them, and they had dramatic conflict.
Well, I mean, as dramatic as our 9-year-old self could think up. We'd go to the ice cream shop, and we'd only have enough money for one milkshake. So then what do you do?
So then you make the characters share, and...
I always said they should share. And then my friend was like, no, these boys are going to buy us milkshakes. And then we got the milkshakes. So she always picked Goku was her love interest, and I got stuck with Vegeta or Trunks.
Stuck with. I'll remember that. Stuck with Vegeta.
Not stuck with. I did. I had a big crush on Vegeta. But anyway, Riku was next. He was next in line. There was also Tai from Digimon. He was mixed in there somewhere too.
The Kingdom of Hearts Funko Pops, the latest one, Series 2, Line 2, whatever you want to call it, released December 2017.
Moving over into the Disney television side, according to Variety, the Walt Disney Company mandated for ABC to renew Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a 5th season.
I still don't know how this awful show is around. I didn't know people were still watching it, and apparently they weren't because ABC planned on canceling the series last spring. Disney came down and said, we own you. We tell you what you cancel and what you don't cancel. You're going to renew this. And they renewed it in May. And now it's coming out that it was all because of Disney. They mandated, it came down. Whatever the plans were, whatever the plans are within humans with the films, something there mandated that this keep going, and for me to still not watch it.
Well, and it may not, I mean, it could have something to do with the films or other TV, but it could also be merch that they're selling.
They're not selling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. merch. They are not.
You don't know.
No one is buying Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. merch.
All right, well.
They don't even buy the comic books.
Then who the hell knows? Maybe Disney's like, look, we need a tax write-off.
I don't know what it is, but you're going to get more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Enjoy, I guess. Have fun.
The 3 people watching it.
I'll even say the Marvel shows on Netflix are way better than this, but if you enjoy it.
But that's not saying much because you don't like the Marvel shows on Netflix either.
I like Jennifer Jones. I'm going to watch season 2.
Okay.
I like Daredevil season 1 up until they ruined Kingpin at the very end of that same season. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like Jennifer Jones. I like one of their shows. I like a show.
It's better than, no, what is it? The Marvel show on Netflix is better than
any
Agents
of their,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
yeah.
Yes, the Marvel show. Just the one.
And from the sounds of it, even better than Inhumans, because the reception on that pilot 1-hour IMAX screening thing has not been good.
Well, we just don't like Marvel anything, so whatever.
Yeah, and some do. It's not our thing. How about that? It's just not for us.
Something we will definitely watch, though. HBO has ordered a pilot for the Watchmen adaptation, as well as scripts for a full season, according to Variety.
No release date has been given for Watchmen, but fuck yes, I'm going to be watching this series. We don't have HBO. Nope. We're going to find someone with HBO Go. You can contact your friend once more. And I know you got their login for Game of Thrones, but in this case, we're going to watch that for fucking Watchmen.
My dad has HBO.
He has HBO Go?
Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching fucking Watchmen.
He needed to watch his Game of Thrones. So I give them a grandchild. They give us HBO passwords.
They give us Dr. Manhattan's giant blue dick.
Oh, and you know that's going to be in there.
Oh, fuck yes. It better be in there. I don't know what kind of budget they have, but the Snyder Dr. Manhattan looked fucking perfect. Mm-hmm. Like you could not get closer to the comics than fucking Dr. Manhattan in those movies. I don't know what kind of budget they're going to have for HBO or this adaptation of Watchmen. They're going to have to do as good a job or better than what they did on a full feature film, because that was goddamn impressive.
So have they said they're basing it off the comic?
Yes. And
okay.
It's going to be, they're saying it's going to be even more of a faithful adaptation than.
Huh.
Oh, you know what? They never got into we covered this like 3 years ago. I just remembered it. I'm like back in episode like 78. They didn't say if this was going to be a direct adaptation of the show, or if this was going to be before Watchmen, which DC was doing at the time, or if this was going to be a sequel to the Watchmen series. I think people now are assuming that it's a remake or a retelling of the Watchmen series. Why can't it be both, though? Why not start in before Watchmen, move forward, and then go into the main Watchmen series? Like, they can do it all. The stories by Darwin Cook especially were fucking amazing. I know a lot of people wrote off the Before Watchmen series. It still sold pretty well, but the Darwin Cook ones were amazing. Those were the ones with the Minutemen and Silk Spectre, which both come in one trade paperback, one hardcover. So you get the two best of the Before Watchmen stories in one book.
They can either do it that way, or they could even start out with the regular, Watchmen book and have flashbacks into the Before Watchmen stuff. And that would even bring greater understanding or, more drama, more dynamic, so that you really understand what's going on.
Well, they do plan on interjecting the pirate story also, which was a reflection of everything going on.
Nah.
You're like, do the Darwin Cook stuff.
Yeah.
That was way more interesting.
Do those things.
The other cast member, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian, best of luck. I hope they find someone better. I don't know if they will. He was an amazing comedian. There's a lot of great stuff in that Watchmen Snyder film that I enjoyed and I love. We own it.
Except for that song that I can never listen to again.
Hallelujah?
Yeah.
That was a weird scene.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good scene.
I can't listen to that because he hits the fire thing and you're like, oh, what happened there?
Yeah, I mean,
He came, guys. That's what
it was
happened
silly,
there.
but whatever.
I can't ever listen to that song again because that is the only scene that I think of when I hear it. By the way, that song's also in Shrek, right? That's the first time I heard it.
Hallelujah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in Shrek.
I didn't know I don't remember that playing there in the movie.
It was in Shrek. Maybe it was in Shrek 2. It was in one of those Shreks. I think it was in Shrek 1. Anyway, moral of my story is I just figured out that Lord Farquaad from Shrek 1, they're calling him Fuckwad. That's what his name is. I spent all these years and Twitter finally told me that that's where his name came from. So now you know he's Lord Fuckwad. And it makes so much sense.
But let us know, Brookheads, if you look forward to the Watchmen HBO show and what you want to see. Do you want to see a faithful adaptation of the original graphic novel, or do you want to see kind of everything put together, a prequel, a sequel to Watchmen, whatever it may be? Let us know on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke, Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke.
Up next on our great list of news, we talked a few weeks ago, several weeks, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's like 5-ish weeks away.
It all blends together. I felt like I just announced that I was pregnant, and here we are. So we talked about James Cameron and how his female characters are way better than the Wonder Woman female characters. And of course, Patty Jenkins responded. But James Cameron has since responded to the Wonder Woman director rebuttal to his initial statement of Sarah Connor being a better female protagonist for audiences than Diana Prince.
Couldn't let it go.
No?
I mean, I'm sure someone asked him, and he had to respond, and he did.
Well, because he was probably real cranky about it, and he just wanted to get the last word.
He might not. We'll see what Patty Jenkins does in the next week. But James Cameron, we have a quote here who said, quote, "Yes, I'll stand by that. I mean, she was Miss Israel, and she was wearing a kind of bustier costume that was form-fitting. She's absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. To me, that's not breaking ground. They had Raquel Welch doing stuff like that in the 60s. It was all in a context of talking about why Sarah Connor, what Linda created in 1991, was, if not ahead of its time, at least a breakthrough in its time. I don't think it was really ahead of its time because we're still not giving women these types of roles. Sarah Connor wasn't there to be liked or ogled, but she was central, and the audience loved her by the end of the film. So as much as I applaud Patty directing the film and Hollywood, quote, letting, end quote, a woman direct a major action franchise, I don't think there was anything groundbreaking in Wonder Woman. I thought it was a good film. Period. End quote.
He's just being a silly man.
What are you talking about?
He's just being a silly... My characters were better than yours, and they weren't overly sexualized. Your characters didn't wear a bra for most of the movies. Okay, so you see nipples hanging out I mean, they weren't hanging out, but anyway, his characters didn't wear a bra, and they had a major fight scene in their panties.
I don't remember that in Terminator.
No, it's an Alien.
Okay. Like I just pictured Sarah Connor shooting a Terminator who was also wearing panties. It's a skeleton body, but he's wearing panties. I'm like, that happened?
Now, if they had Arnold Schwarzenegger in some panties.
I would buy it. Like, I'd believe that because he did all those fucking muscle shows and shit. But I don't know why I went straight to a skeletal Terminator. Panties never tight enough for that skeletal. No buns. No buns,
Stop,
no dick.
I pulled a stomach muscle. I can't laugh. It hurts. Ow.
The suffering for the podcast.
The suffering for your giant 8-pound child.
Most of it is its giant head, I'm sure.
4 pounds are his head. The other 4 pounds are just his little body. His little no buttons, too. Ow, this really hurts.
So you were trying to say that that Sarah Connor wasn't...
I can't stop. It hurts. I think because it hurts, it makes me laugh more. Because now I'm just thinking of our kid with his giant ass head.
Just toppled over and doing like a headstand and his little legs kicking in the air.
Oh.
Laugh anymore and you'll go into labor now.
Or help pee myself a little bit. I don't know. That happens too. Okay. All right. We're good. We're good. Get back to my point. What was my point?
Your point was Cameron's characters aren't much better than what we saw in Wonder Woman. As far as, like, they still were sexualized in a way. There was a sex scene in Terminator 1. Some people are saying that instead of James Cameron elevating both franchises, like, there's no need for him to put down the characters in Wonder Woman and then elevate his own. He can just talk about the characters on their own, but instead he brought in his own film and characters, which, I mean, it's an ego thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The thing that I pointed out last time we had this discussion, and I'll point it out again, is James Cameron isn't a woman. He can't really sit there and say, my characters were more impactful for women than your characters were. Mm-hmm. Because, again, he's not a woman.
No, what I think is the weirdest thing about this as I step back and look at this, trying not to, view this from a male or any other perspective, is just to look at it as is how things played out. I think it's really interesting because if Cameron hadn't said anything, mm-hmm. and if, I guess I would say, maybe if the film wasn't taken as well for the plot, not necessarily for the fact that they cast Gal Gadot, who is a very beautiful actor, for Wonder Woman, and if they could have things could have swung in a different way, because the fact that Wonder Woman did so well, and a lot of female audience members went in it and they felt empowered after watching it, if that was not the case, I think the argument could have been made that James Cameron is making, in which they're sexualizing Wonder Woman. Why did they have to do that for the character? Like, this could have easily been an argument that could have gone either way. And instead, people that I feel would have made that argument are like, no, we loved it. It's the greatest. Wonder Woman is awesome. It's a female superhero. It's great. And they kind of overlook everything else, which are the things that James Cameron was pointing out. And this is why now the arguments are being made in favor of it, which would have been made on the other side if, women or the far left had made that point about, well, they're over-sexualizing her. Instead, people would have said, well, why can't she be sexy and strong as well? And then, oh, that's sexist. It could have gone either direction. And it's really interesting that it played out in this way because it was well-received. And I think that right there is the difference, is that people enjoyed the movie. If they didn't, yes, you would have seen these arguments or these points brought up that James Cameron made, but on a large scale.
Yes, but also at the end of the day, Wonder Woman, yes, it was primarily about Wonder Woman, but it also featured other women who were strong, who were more realistic to what normal women could actually achieve.
There were only black and white, Kelly. I did not see any Asian Wonder Women. I didn't see any Hispanic Wonder Women. Not enough diversity, Kelly. Like, there was still that. They can still make that argument. Again, if this was not well received, that would have been made. Someone would have said that, and that would have been a thing.
Somebody probably did say that, and we just fucking ignored them.
Because people like the movie.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's my whole point.
At the end of the day, I connected more with Wonder Woman than I ever did with braless Sarah Connor or Panties, whatever her name is.
Ripley?
Panties McGee.
Ripley is way more badass than Wonder Woman or Sarah Connor combined.
Yeah, but I didn't really connect with her as much as I did. I definitely did not connect with Sarah Connor. She's probably my least favorite of the three of them.
Okay, I can agree to that, yes. Now, what's a better movie, Aliens or Wonder Woman?
They're different movies.
What's a better film? There's only one correct answer.
I've seen Wonder Woman 4 times. I've only seen Aliens once.
That's how good Aliens is. You only have to see it once, and you're debating in your mind, like, I don't know which one.
Do I enjoy Wonder Woman more? Yes.
Sure.
But It is an easier movie to watch than Aliens, because Aliens scare me.
They're not that scary.
They're scary. They got their...
Yeah, and Ripley fucking blows them away with a goddamn flamethrower and her machine gun.
Panties.
Not in Aliens.
Okay.
She gets on a fucking mech and takes on the queen of the other fucking aliens as she protects her child. And all the other guys are fucking dead. And Bishop is half a cyborg right now, an android. And she's taking on this. It's so fucking badass. Like, that end fight is way better than the fight with Ares and Wonder Woman. And I liked Wonder Woman. But clearly one's better than the other.
That fight is better, yes. But Wonder Woman's easier for me to watch.
For the record, again, we loved Wonder Woman. Yes. We thought it was awesome. It's just fun to discuss and play devil's advocate a little bit with, like, well, if James Cameron wasn't around, like, I love that this is still going. And I hope Patty says something. Because then we can talk about it again next time.
Oh, I'm sure she'll say something. Or you can talk about it with somebody else next time, because who knows if I'll be here.
Final bit of news. This was a shorter news week, but we're going to expand a little bit on the comic book side with releases. I do want to talk about Spider-Man 2. There's some bromance there. Yes. Very funny. The final bit, 2 months ahead of release, boxoffice.com has projected Justice League at $150 million on its opening weekend domestically.
The site has credited Wonder Woman's success and Joe Whedon's influence on the film for their estimated projection.
Bullshit. Motherfucking Joe Whedon is not making them more dollars.
Nope.
Than people were, all the people that whined about Zack fucking Snyder and wouldn't shut up about him and still won't shut up about Zack Snyder, and they're going to credit Joe Whedon for the movie if it's good, and they're going to blame Zack Snyder if it's bad. But those people were still going to go see Justice League. So because Joe Whedon's on there, that's not getting more ticket sales there's not going to get more butts in the seat, because people that hated BVS we're going to go see Justice League to hate on it some more and to shit on Zack Snyder some more. Now they're going to go see it, which again, they were going to anyway, so that they can say, oh, we're glad that Joseph Whedon was able to save the movie. That's great that they brought him on there. Thankfully, Zack Snyder's gone. That kind of shit, again, it pisses me the fuck off, and they should not credit. Joe Whedon should be struck from that fucking statement completely. Wonder Woman, yes. There are going to be a lot of audience members. As soon as Wonder Woman pops on that fucking screen, they're going to applaud like crazy. It's going to be amazing, because now you have all that hype from Wonder Woman, which just came out on Blu-ray. 2 months from now, you're going to see Wonder Woman again on the big screen, next to Batman, next to Superman. Yeah, Superman's going to be in that fucking movie. Come on. It's the Justice League. and next to fucking me, Aquaman. Like, that's when I'm going to be the guy clapping, like, yeah, Aquaman. I'm going to be the one. And then at the end of the movie, everyone's going to fucking love Aquaman.
You're going to have all the women clapping for Aquaman, too. Calm down.
No, they're going to be clapping for Wonder Woman, for sure.
And Momoa. Have you seen Momoa?
Yeah, he looks like me, of course. Yeah. I see him every day in the mirror when I get up.
I'll have to be fighting women off with a stick from you.
It's again, I hate that. No Joe Whedon's influence. Fuck that shit. It's Wonder Woman's success more than anything. So I'll give you that, boxoffice.com. They have noted that Thor Ragnarok opens 2 weeks ahead of Justice League, which could affect Warner Brothers' box office return. I'm going to disagree on that as well. I
don't think it will.
I know we're comic fans. We're going to, if we liked, the Marvel movies more, we would just go see both. It's not going to be like, okay, I can only see one. I'm going to go see Thor. I'm going to go see Justice League. People they go into debt to watch these fucking things. You see all the time people complaining about money, and then you see them in the movie theaters, like watching they're watching it. That's not even the Justice League. So people are going to make money they're going to make room at least somewhere. They're going to go into that again. They're going to watch all of these movies. They're not going to miss one, especially this year. Not with Ragnarok. Hulk is going to be there, Planet Hulk, and then the fucking Justice League taking on Steppenwolf. Amazing. Great time. Great upcoming. We're going to be talking about it. Hopefully you'll be recovered enough to watch Justice League.
I certainly hope so.
I mean, early October is when we're looking at this recovery time. I think by then, yeah. I think you'll be good to go.
It'll be tough. We're going to have to go to like a midday movie, though, because we need childcare now.
I'm guessing you also don't think that this is going to affect Justice League?
No, I really don't, because exactly like you said, people will spend the money to go see it, another movie. Anyway, so it's not, I hear people all the time like, oh man, I have no money, but I just bought all this crap. And it's like, okay.
Right.
So if people want to see it, they'll find a way to go see it.
This would make it the closest a DCEU and MCU film have opened to one another. I think it would have hurt Justice League. Whoever went first, I think is going to hurt them most, because the residual sales afterward are going to be cut off by the next big thing.
Yep.
So in this case, if, Thor Ragnarok, it's going to have 2 weeks, but by then, boom, Justice League comes out. Maybe anyone that was on the fence in that case might be like, I'm just going to watch Justice League since it's new and all my friends want to go, so I'll just go. And then they'll wait another week maybe to see Thor Ragnarok. They're still going to go one way or another.
I think it'll be more, yes, you're going to have a shit ton of people who are going to see Thor in those first 2 weeks. But then, so like, for example, with Wonder Woman, with Suicide Squad, we saw it opening night.
Right.
And then we saw it 2 weeks later.
Yep.
And then it was still in theaters a month later, so we went again. Now you're not going to have that, because you're going to have those 2 weeks, and then Justice League is going to come out. And it's going to be, am I going to go see Thor for a second or third time, or am I going to go see Justice League for the first, second, third, fourth time?
Right.
So it's really going to overshadow everything that Thor did, which is great. Good job, DC.
On one hand, Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Great. I'm watching it just for Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, I've got me, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman,
But
Steppenwolf.
on the other hand, you have that great song.
That's not going to be in that shit.
Wow! That's the only thing I want to see in that movie.
Come Together on the Justice League side, the Beatles.
Yeah, but
or a cover of it.
Wow!
Come Together.
No.
No, not the same?
No.
All right.
Not as good. Wow! That's what your child's going to sound like. If he cries like that, you have no idea how happy
You're so fucking funny. For comparison, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice earned $166 million in its opening domestic weekend. Made a shit ton of money, and that's what we were saying that same fucking week. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a year later, that when people shit on BVS, they need to reboot it again. Why? It made millions upon millions. It made a shit ton of money. Why would they ever reboot that shit? It made more money than Wonder Woman, and people were raving about how much box office success that was having. Like, it's like, imagine that shit. It made even more than all of these movies. So they're not going to reboot that. They're going to rework them. Jeff Johns is there. Things will be fine. And things have been fine. We liked BVS.
But it was not Oscar nominated like Suicide Squad.
And then right after that, they had an Oscar winner, Kelly. The Oscar-winning Suicide Squad.
Oscar-winning Suicide Squad.
And now they're pushing for Wonder Woman to get Oscar nominated. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. You're not seeing that shit anywhere else. It's fucking amazing.
So,
but no, reboot it. Throw it all away.
Like you said earlier, Justice League is set to come out November 17th, 2017.
And before we jump into our comic book highlight and review of the week, we are heading into our Patreon shoutouts of the week.
This week we have 2 different Patreon backers who get their shout out. The first is Alexander, whose Twitter handle is @SwordfishShow, and the second is Lourdes and Katie.
@SwordfishShow has his website, purpleswordfish.com, which redirects you straight into his YouTube channel. And he's put up tons of Madden 2018 content. It's football season. NFL is hot right now. And he's been putting up stuff like the Team of the Week videos, Madden Ultimate Team, all kinds of stuff that any football player will enjoy, any Madden player will enjoy. There's a variety of stuff on his channel. So definitely check it out. Once again, purpleswordfish.com. And his YouTube channel, again, Purple Swordfish. So if you just head on over and follow him on Twitter @SwordfishShow, you will find a link to his channel. Lourdes and Katie, they both watched it recently, the remake. Really enjoyed it. Almost every time we talk to Katie, she asks, have you guys seen it yet?
I will not be seeing it because, 1, I don't like scary things. And 2, I don't want to go into labor in a theater.
If it hits Netflix, I'll give it a shot. I'll watch it. And I know a lot of people have been saying it is good stuff. So, I will watch it eventually, but I'm not going to go out of my way and go to the theater.
The only things I'll watch are when they put music to his silly dance, because he can dance to anything.
All those memes. I also like the ones, they put in the new one. It works with the classic movie, or the older movie. I shouldn't say classic, but the one where it's got Pennywise in the sewer and he says, hey, I have Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray down here. And then the kid crawls down.
Yeah.
And I shared that, and my buddy Alex, he's been on the show, and he's like, the only problem with this is you, Daniel, would go in head first. So you would punch him and knock him out of the quickness and swiftness of you going down there for those Blu-rays that, Pennywise would be defeated. He picked the wrong thing with the wrong person.
What does he lure the kid down there with anyway?
I think he says balloons in the older movie.
This kid's fucking stupid.
It's a movie. It's whatever.
Like whatever. Party City has balloons, and they're not a scary clown in a sewer.
What would work with you? What would? Oh no, you said it on Twitter. It was a year's worth.
Year paid maternity leave right now. Yes, I would definitely be down there real fast for that. Those Halloween sugar cookies. I've been craving those, so he could lure me down there with some of those.
Have you tried the Thanksgiving sugar cookies? Because they're the exact same fucking thing. They just change the color.
No, the Halloween ones are the best. I've tried them. Actually, the Christmas tree ones are the best. Or the snowman ones. But I miss the days. Now you don't have to cut them anymore. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
They come out in a little tray, and you just pop them on the thing and you cook them. back in the day, they had little perforate, like little lines, and you had to cut them down the lines, right? Because it came in like a big tube.
Mhm.
And then I'd always like fuck up the lines, and I never cut them right. So some would be too thick and some would be too thin.
Well, that's why they do it now. They
Well,
just cut them for you.
I mean, I'm sure, and it's safety, because I bet somebody cut off their finger while doing this.
Probably.
But I was so excited to get that tube and cut it in. And they're just like, here's a tray, just pop it on the tray. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Which you're going to make more of?
Yes, I ate
tonight
all of
or
them.
tomorrow?
Tonight. They only take 12 minutes at $3.50.
I like how you tried to convince me that the pumpkin part of it tasted like pumpkin. I'm like, no, this tastes like way too much sugar, Kelly. That's what these taste like. You're like, I can make more because we were down to 2. I'm like, no, I'm only going to have this one.
Okay, well, I am in my last week of pregnancy. This is the last time that I get to eat what I want.
Which you have been good with. Like, I know I hear all these stories like, my wife just has tubs of ice cream and all this. And I'm like, no, not Kelly. Like, yeah, she has to eat more because she's growing the kid, but it's not like what people make it out to be, like this crazy fucking, my wife had this. And
I've learned that every single woman and every single pregnancy is different. Something that somebody pointed out to me, and it makes so much sense, is the reason I don't want food is because I work in food. I'm surrounded by food 24/7, and so nothing sounds good. And that's really, yes, when I do sit down to a meal, I eat more, but I don't eat all the time because I don't want to eat. Food is no longer enjoyable for me because it causes heartburn and indigestion, and I just don't like the taste of it. And there's so many things that I don't like, which is good for me because I haven't really gained a lot of weight, so it's going to be easier to lose that weight when it happens. But every single woman is different. I don't fault any woman for gaining 500 pounds when they're pregnant, because it's fucking hard to be pregnant. Christ, like, eat what you want to feel good. Do what you have to do to feel good about yourself, because you're just miserable and you feel fat. It's horrible.
I still think you've handled it well, though.
Well, thank you.
Like, you haven't had many
that.
breakdowns at all. I think you've handled it very gracefully.
Well, thank
You're glowing. You're glowing.
I'm glowing. I've finally reached, like, in this last 3 weeks, I can see the weight in my face, and I know it's water weight is what it is. You retain water in your last month of pregnancy. That's why my ankles or feet swell. That's why my face swells up. But, like, now I really feel like a house. So even though I step on the scale and I understand that literally every single pound I've gained has been a baby pound, I'm like, oh my God, look at my face. Like, somebody took really pretty pictures of me, like pregnancy pictures the other day. And I'm like, oh my God, look at my double chin. Look at my fat cheeks. I'm huge. Even though it's all baby.
I measure by my shorts. Like, I'm like, oh, like.
Okay, well, those don't fit me either.
I have certain shorts that I'm like, oh, these are a little tight this week. I gotta not eat as much or cut down on something for like a few days.
I have to have one less alcoholic beverage this week to drop these 5 pounds.
And maybe park at the furthest spot one time when I go to Target.
Yes. Wow. I'm so happy for you.
I still like that Tom Mum was like, fuck you.
Yeah. He was real upset.
One guy was telling me, like, he's like, I eat even less when the baby came because there's no time. You just eat when there's time, and you just eat little scraps, and that's it. And I somehow gained weight. I'm like, well, yeah, that's probably from the lack of sleep and the stress and all that. I'm like, God damn it, wait a minute. I'm about to go into this fucking phase.
Well,
no.
Again, I tell you again, we are fortunate because we have enough of a support team and enough people around us who can watch our child for us so we can get those breathers.
Speaking of support, huge thanks to Broquettes and people in our personal lives, too, that they've sent us clothes for little Leo. They've sent us gift cards. I mean, a lot of awesome stuff, specifically Neil, Brian, Meg, Lewis. There's so many people that have been sending us stuff for little Leo, and it's unexpected. It's great. It's amazing. And it's kindness, you know, it's fantastic. You know, Leo's going to be so loved already. And then now he's even, you know, he's going to be even more loved by the listeners and our family and our friends. So it's fantastic. So huge thanks. If any of those people are listening, and I know some are, thank you so much for the help with Leo. Every bit helps, especially with the formula, the diapers, all that is going to get insane. The doctor's visits. So very much appreciated. Thank you so much for the support. And also on Patreon, we got to finish this Patreon bit of it. Huge thanks to decalavenue.com for the help at the $5 reward tier, and to our Patreon backers for sticking with us, especially as we move forward into this newer phase of our lives. As you know, I work hard on the show, and I work hard on more than just the show. I've got my job and everything else. So I will do know that I don't think there's anyone else with the will that I have to continue this and to juggle everything else at the same time. That if it doesn't happen, it's because it could not happen.
Mm-hmm.
It could never happen. But if I'm going to do my damn best to make sure that you still get an episode every week. Kelly's going to do her best to recover, and then we're going to raise our kid together, and we're going to enjoy our new lives together. But
we're going to flood your Twitter feed with photos of my child.
And at the same time, and hopefully, when you eventually come back, we'll continue this as we share our love for comics, movies, video games, TV, Batman, Pokemon, Harley Quinn, everything. Mm-hmm. All the stuff that you have heard for the last, last 50 minutes, for the last, 200 plus episodes, whatever it may be. All of that, we do for all of you. And the fact that you tune in and you download the show lets us know that you want to keep this going and that you want to hear more. So huge thanks to everyone for nominating us, for tuning in, for the Patreon support. All of that definitely helps.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. Best thing you can do for us is reach out to us on Twitter, on Facebook, on any social media platform, and just let us know what you guys think of the show. Like we say many, many times, we do this show for all of you. So any suggestions that you have, any feedback, any questions you want us to answer, any topics you want us to talk about, if there's a TV show you want us to watch, we're going to have a little bit of free time. So, you say,
That's
hey,
true.
I really like the show. Can you review an episode or two?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd be happy to watch it and check it out and let you know what we think of it. So, yes, that is the best thing you do. And let other people know about us, too. That helps also.
And with that, we can jump into our comic book highlight of the week.
This week's highlight, as we mentioned at the very beginning, is Batman Red Dead Redemption #1, the one-shot.
You're trolling. Your trolling game is on point.
I'm trying to reach your level. I don't want you to be bored. We're bringing a child into the world. I have to spice up our relationship a little bit by adding in trolling.
Keep going, young Padawan. You're going in the right direction.
Padawan, Emperor Kelli. Okay, thanks.
I got to call you something else then for the trolling one.
Thanks. I got a new name tag. I think we posted on Twitter a while ago that I had that one that said Kelli and I was a Sith Lord. Well, now I have one. It says Supreme Leader.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know where that ranks in the Star Wars, but...
I don't know, but it has Supreme in it, so I was like, yes, that is me.
That's kind of Taco Bell-ish.
Oh, man, I can't wait for Taco Bell. Next week, can we do a whole segment on all the foods I'm going to eat after I have your child?
We can.
And then we can follow up with all the foods I still couldn't eat post your child.
The reasons I'll eat.
Yes.
So the Red Death #1 is a one-shot, and it is also a Metal tie-in. So if you're not keeping up with Metal, they are doing there's the twisted versions of Batman in which he takes over or merges or amalgams or is the different version of each Justice League member in this dark universe. So in this case, they kicked it off with the origin of the Red Death, which is Batman and the Flash merged together. So they are giving you these origins and one-shots as we go through Metal. The main series of Metal, I believe, is 6 issues long. That's coming out each month. And that continues the story on how the Justice League faces a team of evil Batmen that each have the power of the Justice League. Amazing stuff. Really good stuff. All leading up. We're going to have Doomsday Clock and Metal running at the same time. It's going to be awesome. Great November. Great month. Justice League. It's going to be fantastic. But this one was written by Joshua Williamson with art by Carmen Di Giomandenico and colors by Ivan Plasencia.
I'm glad you said all those names because I would have fucked up every single one of them.
What'd you think of this kickoff? The Red Death #1. It's got a cool cover.
It does have a cool cover. The thing that bothered me about this is I feel like Batman wouldn't do what he does in this book. I get that it's an alternate reality Batman. It's a different Batman. But the whole time I'm like, Batman, what are you doing? You're more logical than this. You want to do this nonsense?
He's using Captain Cold's weapons in this. He is going after the Flash. This is a Batman. It's essentially an Elseworlds Batman, I guess you can call it. It's not the Batman that we know. It is one that wants to take the safety of Gotham to the next level. If I had the Flash's speed, I can stop crime everywhere at all times.
I thought he was trying to go back in time to save all the Robins, because Flash mentioned that all the Robins are dead.
Maybe I missed that little detail, but I know he has been using, in the story, when he gets the Flash's powers, he uses it to kill the enemies, kills the Scarecrow, he kills all his rogues gallery, and then he stops crime at the same time, but then the universe is falling apart, so he's like, fuck that, I'm gonna take care of a different Gotham and be the Batman of that. So yeah, it's way out of character. But yeah, go ahead. You mentioned something.
Yeah, I thought there was a part where the Flash was mentioning, like, this isn't what they would have wanted. He mentions that Grayson and Drake and Damian are all dead. Something happened to them and they all died. And that's why Batman kind of goes crazy and straps Flash to the front of his car to steal the Speed Force.
Fucking Batman. Maybe the Batman Who Laughs has something to do with it. Because he has that gang of Robins, although maybe it's just from his particular universe. I'm not sure. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm thinking he's going to be the hero in some way in Metal.
Really?
I think he's going to switch sides for some reason or another, and he's going to help out the Justice League and die in the process. I don't know why. I think it's just because the Flash and Batman are popular right now, so they would write that into the story. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're all just going to be purely evil.
I think regular Batman's going to save the day.
Well, of course. He's probably going to convince this Batman. Your parents, they would have been real. It would have been a Justice League episode again. They would have been real proud.
Mom and Dad would have been real proud. Cling, 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 cling. It was great.
You were thinking of, you're talking about the Batarang scene?
Yeah.
He actually says, no little boy will ever have to watch his parents die again. And that's what convinces real Batman to drop his Batarang.
I like my version better.
And that's when Kevin Conroy says, you win. And he gives up, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Batman? And now older me is like, it's fucking Batman. He's got a plan. And he did. Convinces other Batman to be his fucking Robin.
Only Batman can convince Batman to be Robin.
Yes. So it's got a great cover. It's out of print. There's already second printing. Gorgeous cover. It's going to sell forever. It's one of those that you put on a wall and people are always going to say, yeah, let me get that. It's got the origin of this particular Flash, Batman, the Red Death. And based on how Metal goes, maybe this could be a particularly important issue because, again, it's the origin. All of these are going to have the origins of these different Batmen. But other than that, it is a very standard issue. Nothing huge aside from how's Batman defeat Flash again, because he's defeated him in the past. And you see how this evil Batman takes the Speed Force from the Flash.
I've said from the beginning I'm not the biggest fan of Metal. I find the whole thing pretty confusing for me. I understand what they're trying to do, but I just don't think it's written for me. Same with this book. I've enjoyed it more than I have some of the others. But if any of you are out there reading these and saying, they're just not for me, I totally understand. I'm on board with you.
And it could be that Metal switches. Like, it could grow on you. Maybe this is all set up right now for the second issue of Metal. We've already had, and I'm going to spoil it because issue 1 has come out and it's been out. But Sandman is in the goddamn story. That's fucking amazing. And he's going to come back in Metal. So Batman telling Sandman, like, no, come back. I fucking need to ask you something. And then Sandman's already gone. I'm like, God damn it, Sandman. Fucking listen to Batman. Jesus Christ. And instead things go to shit. Baby Darkseid.
Yes.
I love Baby Darkseid.
Adorable.
Fantastic. So I'm loving Metal.
You know who's cuter than Baby Darkseid?
Baby Etrigan?
Yes.
Why isn't there, like, I know we have Low Gotham. Let's have babies DC.
Yes, that'd be adorable. Batman's still taking care of all of them, even as a baby.
The other comic I wanted to mention from last week's batch of books was Spider-Man 2. I want to say it was issue 3. And this is the one in which it has the cover of the 616 Miles Morales, who is older. And it's an evil version, basically, and he's tearing off the mask of the ultimate Miles Morales, who is now in 616. And I'm like, holy shit, are they going to battle the evil Miles in this issue? It is all a Kingpin, Miles, friendship, pseudo-love story.
Bromance story.
That's one thing I'm like, okay, this one I read and I'm like, normally I'd make no, they're gay. But as I was reading it, I'm like, no, this is legitimately a funny bromance. And the whole thing is telling you the story of how Miles saved Kingpin in jail, how Kingpin forever loves and is best friends with Miles. And now they worked for all these years in the criminal world for each other as Kingpin, took over and rose up in the ranks. So it's kind of an origin story as well, a little bit for the Kingpin and how Miles is involved in that. But the whole time, that you come to the point where Miles says, I don't want to do this anymore. And Kingpin knows by looking at him, like, you don't want to do this. And Miles says, no, honestly, I want to escape and leave and settle down or whatever. And Kingpin's like, just go. Like, they're best. He's like, you've done so much for me. I don't care. And they're just such good friends that I'm like, can we just get a whole ongoing of Kingpin and Miles forever? Like, just them being friends and owning restaurants and getting drunk and taking out these crime bosses, and him
picking up ladies.
Miles picking up ladies while Kingpin listens from afar and plays with his drink and like, oh, I hope she says yes. Like, all of that is, I loved it. Amazing issue. Fantastic. I hope Brian Michael Bendis, I'm going to tweet him and I'm going to tell him, do this, please. Do an ongoing so that it can sell once to me. I'd be the only buyer.
Make a television series.
Miles and Kingpin. Absolutely do it. I would love it. And if you haven't read that issue, I mean, you've got to pick it up just for that. It's like a little one-off story, but it's adorable. Like, that relationship is adorable.
It was. All those things you just said. I really, really enjoyed that issue as well.
So those were a couple of our comic book highlights this week, and that is pretty much, that's the podcast for the show for this week.
Yeah, it was a smaller episode. Like we said, it was a shorter news week. Of course, after we say that, in the next day or two, we'll get a shit ton of news.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it always happens. But we thank you guys, of course, as always, so much for tuning into the show.
Once again, we don't know if we won in the podcast awards. If we did, fucking, you're going to hear about it next week. If we didn't, doesn't matter. We're still
fucking,
the
you're going to hear about it.
You're still going to hear it. You're going to forever hear that we're the 2017 Games and Hobbies Podcast Awards nominee for the podcast awards. So we'll find out, I guess in a few days as we record this. But otherwise, you found out yesterday in the episode's release. So we'll talk about it next week, regardless, one way or another. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kelli.
We'll see you then.